Hey everyone, my name is Angie Norris and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel, Angie's Book Adventures. And tonight I am going to be doing a book review on a book that has not been published yet. It is by Heather Weber, and I'm going to turn the light off for just a second so that I can show you this on my iPad without it glaring. Heather Weber, and the title of the book is The Forget-Me-Not Library, and that is what the cover is going to look like. So let me turn the light back on. So this book has not been published yet. It is due or scheduled to be published November the 4th of 2025. I actually have already pre-ordered this book through Amazon. Heather Weber is an author that I want to read to zero. I was introduced to her last year when the very first book that I ever read by her was Midnight at the Blackbird Cafe. And I fell in love with her style of writing. And so I want to read everything she wrote. So I am in the process of reading some of her backlist. But in the interim, I was on NetGalley one night and saw that she had a new book coming out in November and that you could request to be an early reader and read an advanced reader copy. So I clicked on the request button and lo and behold, I got approved. So I read the book a couple of weeks ago, and they like for you to do a written review. And then if you have a social media platform, they like you to tag them in any reviews that you may do on social media. So here I am, and we're going to talk about this book. And just an FYI, there are some spoilers in this book. So one of the things that Heather Weber does is she always writes about a fictional town in the South. And of the 3 or 4 books that I have read so far, they have all been set in a fictional town in Alabama. And this one is no different. The name of this fictional town is called Forget-Me-Not. Thus, that's the library in the town is the Forget-Me-Not Library. And so her books also have a little bit of a magical element. I don't really know that I would classify her books as historical fiction. I would say they're more contemporary fiction, always a little romance in it, but there's always a little element of magical realism in them as well. So what happens, there's a couple of things going on in this town that have a little magical element to them. One is that it's a very small town, and if anyone ever comes into town and their car breaks down, depending on what color the smoke was coming out of the car is the reason for why they broke down. And so one of our 2 primary characters in this book is a young woman named Juliet Nightingale. And Juliet has just had something very traumatic happen in her life. And she goes on this road trip, so to speak, and her car breaks down in Forget-Me-Not. And it breaks down in front of this elderly gentleman's house who very nicely comes out and calls a mechanic, calls a tow truck. And the tow truck driver is also a mechanic. And as she gets to talking to this gentleman, he offers to let her stay in his spare room. He is an elderly widow gentleman, and so he has room in his house. He also has his granddaughter living with him, as well as 2 great-granddaughters. So his granddaughter is a young woman by the name of Tallulah Bird Mayfield. And even though she is from Forget-Me-Not, she had gotten married and moved away, and she has recently come back because of a divorce. So she is a single mom now to 2 daughters, and she's moved in with her grandfather. And so at first, she's very cautious about letting Juliet stay there, but they do become fast friends. The other element of magical realism in this book is about the library. So in the library, there is a cat that lives there. And legend is that if the cat comes up beside you while you're looking at books in the library, and the cat knocks a book off the shelf, then you are supposed to pick that book up. You are supposed to open it, let it fall where it may, and you are supposed to smell it, to hold the book up to your face and smell the book. And by doing so, you will receive a memory. And that's all I'm going to say about that part. But I absolutely loved this book. So each chapter is told from one of our two primary characters' point of view. And it tells a story of how their lives intertwine and then how they both find love in the end. So I told you there was a few spoilers, but I haven't really given a lot of it away. Goodreads actually rates this at a 4.51, which is a pretty darn good rating on Goodreads. I personally gave it a 5-star. I would highly recommend this book. I love this type of book, this little cozy, set in a southern town with a little bit of magical element to it. I'm a sucker. I have already purchased 3 more of Heather Weber's books, and they're on my TBR list right now. But this one comes out in November. I've already pre-ordered the book. I give it a 5-star, and I highly recommend that you read it as well. Thank you for watching.